Today we will take a look at the best iPhone in 2021. If you want to find more information, check out links down below. 5. iPhone 12. The iPhone 12 sports a gorgeous design, full 5G support, great cameras and strong performance. Apple rarely alters the physical design of the iPhone from generation to generation, and thus any change, no matter how small, is typically received with enthusiasm. You can chalk up the iPhone 12's new flat edge aesthetic as one of those more modest revisions. The iPhone 12's screen still isn't perfect, and the reason why is clear to anyone who has used a recent Galaxy, Pixel or OnePlus phone for any length of time. Following months of rumors suggesting the opposite, Apple decided to forego high refresh rate displays on the entire iPhone 12 line, which have actually become quite common in the flagship smartphone space over the past year. Apple never reveals battery capacity figures for its devices, which makes it challenging to glean any insights regarding longevity from a spec sheet. A recent teardown suggests the iPhone 12 could be working with a 2815 mAh unit, which translates to roughly 200 mAh less capacity than the iPhone 11 Pro had at its disposal. 4. iPhone SE 2020. The iPhone SE has exactly the same design and display as the iPhone 8 from 2017. Using this form factor and screen hardware allowed Apple to keep the cost of the device as low as it has, as it didn't need to invest in a whole new manufacturing process. It feels like the iPhone world has moved on in 3 years though. Now the 4.7-inch screen with the chunky bezels above and below feels like it belongs to the past. In the time the flagship iPhone range has moved to an all-screen design, barring a notch at the top, you're presented with barely any bezels, while with more premium aluminum inside, things have got a little weightier in recent years. The make-or-break feature for the iPhone SE, and so the key focus of this review, is the iPhone SE camera and how well it performs in day-to-day use. Given that there's old hardware on offer here, Apple has taken a gamble that it can improve photo quality using image processing powered by the A13 Bionic chipset. Spoiler alert, the gamble has paid off handsomely. The new iPhone SE can often stand up to the iPhone 11 Pro Max in terms of general snapping, and only struggles when it comes to the areas where the hardware is lacking. We'll explain more about that in a moment, but we've compared the iPhone SE 2020 to the iPhone 11 Pro Max, the iPhone XS Max and the iPhone 8 Plus, and it holds its own well. 3. iPhone 13 Pro. The iPhone 13 Pro is one of 2021's best smartphones, even if it doesn't quite do enough to warrant upgrading from the 12 Pro. The battery life is the best we've seen in Apple's Pro iPhone, and you're also getting top-level performance, a great camera package and a super smooth 120Hz screen. While on their own none of the upgrades for 2021 are huge, they add up to offer a fantastic smartphone experience. The iPhone 13 Pro is the company's most premium device yet that doesn't include a Max in the title, and unlike the iPhone 13 Pro Max, this is a more realistic size for one-handed use. If you're looking for a new, mid-sized iPhone, this handset, or the iPhone 13, should suit you perfectly. The iPhone 13 Pro comes with a 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. This screen doesn't feature the best pixels per inch rating of the entire iPhone 13 range. For that, look at the iPhone 13 mini, but it does feature 460 pixels per inch, and the image quality is correspondingly crisp. A significant upgrade here is the introduction of a 120Hz maximum refresh rate, which means the on-screen image refreshes 120 times a second for a more fluid experience than we've seen on previous iPhones. It's most noticeable when you're scrolling through menus or system apps. It's a dynamic refresh rate, so it's automatically adjusted depending on which apps you're using. For example, most games will use a 120Hz refresh rate, while if you're reading an ebook the rate could drop as low as 1 Hz. The idea here is to save battery life when you're using apps that don't benefit from the high refresh rate. Battery life on the iPhone 13 Pro is better than we've seen on previous Pro handsets from the brand, but it's not as good as you'll get from this year's top-end iPhone, the 13 Pro Max. We've found the iPhone 13 Pro is capable of lasting a full day of normal usage. If you push your phone slightly harder, you may find that it needs recharging before the end of the day. 2. iPhone 13. The iPhone 13 doesn't bring with it a huge number of new features, but it does improve on the iPhone 12 in several areas, chiefly battery life, power, display and cameras, to make this one of the most impressive all-round handsets we've seen from Apple. The display on the iPhone 13 is 6.1 inches, with a resolution of 2532 x 1170. It's a Super Retina XDR OLED display made by Apple, and it makes for a clear and bright image. The brightness has been improved on the iPhone 13. Going on the headline specs, the iPhone 13 camera setup doesn't look that different to the array on last year's model, but you're getting some worthwhile upgrades here, with tweaks to the cameras themselves as well as a variety of software updates. You've got two cameras on the rear. A 12MP wide camera with an aperture of f1.6, and a 12MP ultra-wide camera with a f2.4 aperture and a 120-degree field of view. There's no telephoto shooter here. You're reliant on digital zoom, so this phone isn't going to be the best for grabbing long-distance shots. The iPhone 13 comes running iOS 15 out of the box, so you can enjoy all the latest software features from the company. The upgrades for 2021 are smaller than the major overhaul we saw with iOS 14, but the new additions are interesting, and include a new focus mode that's easy to enable through the drop-down menu. Apple's handsets have never been known for strong battery life, and while the iPhone 13 doesn't offer the best stamina we've ever seen in a smartphone, it's a clear improvement on previous iPhones. 1. iPhone 13 Pro Max. If you're after the best iPhone Apple has ever made by a long way, then the iPhone 13 Pro Max is it, mostly down to having a genuinely long-lasting battery. The battery life of the iPhone 13 Pro Max is the biggest reason why you'd buy this phone. While we think the battery life is the real selling point of the iPhone 13 Pro Max, a close second is the camera offering. While the improvements here are only tweaks from the iPhone 12 Pro Max, those tweaks are useful and impressive in a number of ways and make it one of the best camera phones around.